all we can do is really try to identify the problem, then hopefully the radio spot will help us in fleshing out what needs to be done as a result of the problem. So anyway, questions from anybody?
Congressman,
yes.
What about the perhaps inflammatory nature of this, sort of comparing it to that LBJ ad where the little girl was plucking the daisy and then a bomb went off? What about the idea of playing to voters' fears? Are you concerned that you're primarily playing to their fears?
What I'm trying to do here is to address a very, very serious issue that has only been tangentially dealt with, that has only parts of it have been touched. Now, as I say, I've gotten the field to move to the point where they will talk about securing the borders. But that's not the ultimate solution to our problem. It's not just those folks coming here looking for a job that, quote, no one else will take. This is for real. I mean, I didn't make up the National Intelligence Estimate. That stuff comes out periodically. Anybody can read it. I didn't make up the FBI directive that went out last week saying that Al-Qaeda plans to blow up malls in the United States. I mean, is that fear-mongering on the part of the FBI? These things are real. I see other stuff that is classified that, you know, certainly makes you understand these threats are real. Now, how can we get people to discuss it if I don't do this? This is the only way we can force them into saying what they will do, and that's what I want to hear. I want to hear what my other colleagues there, what my opponents in the Republican presidential primary, and the Democrats for that matter, I want to hear what they will do to stop an event like this. The other day, you guys, I was in a beautiful, bucolic little town, and there was a festival. There were thousands of people in the streets. It was in New Hampshire. Beautiful fall day, annual event. All kinds of kids in their little Halloween costumes, you know, during the morning doing their parade down the street, and then during the day it's a lot of selling of stuff. It's just a little event they do every year. It's a beautiful event, beautiful day. As I say, I was walking through, we read our signs and stuff, and it was just a slice out of Americana, right? And I had this feeling, I had this horrible feeling. I thought to myself as we were going through there, you know, I could foresee a time when we can't do this anymore in America. When it's too dangerous to actually gather that way, because somebody is going to do something like this, or whether we'll have to all go through metal detectors in order to get into the mall. Not only that, please recognize what happens, by the way. It doesn't have to be a nuclear device, biological or chemical device, to create great havoc in the United States. If you do even a more conventional type of explosion, if you do several of them in various places, you can do enormous damage, not only to this country, but of course to the world economy. Just think about what happens if all of a sudden Americans stop consuming. We are the consuming engine of the world. When it stops here, believe me, it shuts down all over the place. And that part we had about that little boy in Russia that they were holding. Now I have to tell you, one of the reasons why I agreed to allow that to go on there is because I went to Beslan. Because I happen to represent a district in Colorado with a school by the name of Columbine. And I know what happens to a community when you have this kind of devastation. And my wife taught Russian for 27 years. We took students to the old Soviet Union, I don't know, 10 or 15 times. We've been back maybe another 10 times to Russia. One night I was driving home and I heard, just driving by Columbine, I was within a block of Columbine High School, and I heard that something had happened in Beslan, in Russia. A bomb had gone off, kids were killed. I didn't know anything else about it at the time. And I went home and I said to my wife, we've got to go. We have to go there. I just feel it in my heart. We need to go and express our condolences, tell them about our community, what we've gone through, that we understand the pain. Well, of course, in the process of getting there over the next several days, we began to hear about the extent of it. It was just horrendous. When I got off the plane and they put me in this armored personnel carrier to get me to the school where the event occurred, where the explosions occurred. Now remember, these were sometimes they are referred to as Chechen terrorists. They were Islamic Chechen terrorists. Okay, they came across, forced 1,000 people into a room 40 by 40, kept them there for 3 days. Little kids forcing mothers to do a Sophie's choice. You know, you have 2 kids. Which one do you want to let go? We'll let one go. The other one has to die with you. And a bomb went off, and nobody knows exactly how. Nobody knows whether it was by accident or purpose, because they had rigged up bombs all over the building, all over this auditorium. Bomb went off, all hell broke loose. The Russians came in, a lot of people killed. When I was going in the truck, we went past the graveyard. 600 graves. They're digging 600 graves in a town of 25,000 people. Most of them for kids. One Russian soldier, when they were running, a soldier dressed in a Russian uniform, but he was a terrorist, he kept saying, come over, and all these kids ran up to him. And as soon as they got to him, thinking that he was going to provide them with security, of course he pulls the plug and kills himself and all of them. There were still body parts on the wall when I got there. The place was still smoldering. And I'm telling you, there's nothing to say something like that cannot happen here. There is nothing to say that it can't. And believe me, what that does to a community, beyond the horrible carnage, can you imagine what it does to the nation? So that's why, yeah, this is a scary commercial. I understand that. But it's a scary world in which we live. These are real threats. If you're going to run for president of the United States of America, you better tell people what you're going to do about this. Because this is for real. You know, you can talk about health care plans all you want. You can talk about fixing Social Security. You can talk about education and all the rest of this stuff that essentially doesn't matter if this starts. And I want to know from those candidates, what are you going to do about this? How far are you willing to go? Because from my point of view, I'm willing to do everything that's necessary to preserve and protect this country. Everything that's necessary. And I will say it on the front end. You're going to hear me talk about it. And I know very well that, you know, all of the political consultants in the world get together and talk about, you know, how you're supposed to phrase things and what you can say in front of what group and what you can't. And look, I've never run a campaign like that in my life. I'm not about to start that now. I'm going to tell you what I feel and what I think and what I believe from the bottom of my heart. This is not meant for just some sort of hype. I'm worried about this. I have been for a long time. I wrote about it in a book. I wrote my book, 2 years ago? In Mortal Danger. A lot of this stuff is in there. It's not like I just came up with this. It's just that somebody has got to talk about it, guys. And I hope you make them, because you're the only ones that can.
When you talk, I don't think we've heard you say this yet, when I become president, are you now to the point where, are you more interested in pushing the candidates to push for what you believe as opposed to pushing to get yourself elected?
I ran for this, I did this. I chose to run for president of the United States, recognizing that, you know, I would be on that second tier and probably there for a long time, and recognizing that the odds are very, very long against my being president of the United States. I think the last person that went from the House directly to the presidency was like